Big tough trucks are quickly becoming one of the most popular types of new cars in Australia. One for their sense of practicality, but also their sense of adventure.
That's right, and in a sign of the times, Ford has stopped building the Falcon sedan locally, and now this is its best-selling car. The Ranger pickup really is an Australian success story, and we think it's the best ute on sale.
That's right, Dave, it's our reigning champion in the ute category for our Car of the Year awards. But the Europeans are also playing in this segment too, led by the Volkswagen Amarok, which has just been updated with a class-leading new diesel engine, and is ready to play in the big league.
Do you really think it's good enough to take on the Ranger?
Only one way to find out. This is the top-of-the-range Amarok V6 Ultimate, which claims the mantle as the most expensive of these modern dual-cab utes, with prices starting at $67,990 plus on-road costs. That's as much as a mid-level luxury sedan like a Mercedes-Benz C-Class or a BMW 3 Series. It comes equipped with 19-inch alloys, dual-zone aircon, cruise control, a 6.3-inch colour touchscreen with sat-nav, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay and digital radio, as well as a full Nappa leather interior, with heating in the front and electric adjustment for the driver. On the safety side of things, it comes with 6 airbags, ABS, rear parking sensors and a reverse camera, but it misses out on some key elements, such as airbag coverage for rear seat occupants and automated emergency braking.
While Ford's Contender is a fair bit cheaper than the Amarok, it remains one of the dearest utes on sale at just over $60,000 plus on-road costs. That said, you do get a lot for your money. Of course, there's leather trim, climate control and a big touchscreen with smartphone connectivity, but its real killer feature is a safety suite that no other ute can match. The Wildtrak has active cruise control, lane keeping assistance, automatic emergency braking and other features that could save your life. It also has airbags in the back seat, which Volkswagen does not offer in the Amarok.
Well, this is the key to the Amarok taking on those big contenders, and the most significant change in this second generation model. It now features a 3-litre V6 turbo diesel engine that produces class-leading 165 kilowatts of power and 550 newton meters of torque, enough to give it a 3-ton towing capacity.
That's really impressive, and it's seriously strong outputs for a ute, but the Ranger can tow 3.5 tonnes thanks to its 5-cylinder 3.2-litre engine that makes 147 kilowatts and 470 newton meters. No, those outputs aren't as big as the Amarok, but they do just fine out on the open road and around town.
Well, enough talk about torque. What does that translate to in the real world? Let's go and find out.
Let's go.
The Amarok is certainly more car-like than many of its rivals. The engine is a real highlight, offering a smooth power delivery from low in the rev range, meaning it doesn't have any of the turbo lag normally associated with large diesel pickups, and that makes it more comfortable to drive around town. As the numbers suggest, it's also got plenty of power when you call for all of its performance. The broad spread of ratios in the smooth shifting 8-speed automatic also helps add to its refined on-road manners, as does its well-weighted steering and nicely calibrated suspension, which doesn't bounce around as much as the other utes. In fact, it's quite a comfortable jigger to drive in any environment, and you quickly forget you're driving a ute. However, that changes a little when it becomes a workhorse, particularly compared with the Ranger. With 500 kilos in the tray over rough roads, the Amarok tended to jig around a little more, and the rear end took some more time to recover from big bumps. But the Amarok is still a hardy workhorse and unique in its class with 4-wheel disc brakes, and is the only one that is capable of fitting a full-size Australian pallet between the rear wheel arches in its tray.
This is by some margin the most car-like of the pickups on sale today, and that's reflected in the sales charts, where this really is a dominant contender. A lot of that comes down to its 5-cylinder engine, which is smoother and quieter than most 4-cylinder rivals. Ford has to thank its engineers for that. Its Australian team put a lot of effort into making sure that this car was tuned to suit Australian conditions, and you really can feel that on the road. This is a very impressive vehicle and definitely one of the best in its class.
While the Amarok has more space in the tray, the Ranger may prove to be a better bet when put to work. It feels more balanced than the Amarok with a load in the back, offering a touch more stability than its European rival. The Ford is quite practical too, with a household power outlet in the centre console, a 12-volt outlet in the tray, and plenty of other power options up front. It also has a lockable hard tonneau for the tray, which lends extra security to Ford's top ute.
A big part of the appeal of these utes is that they really are do-anything vehicles. You can drive them to work, you know, they're fine on the freeway and that sort of stuff. And then, of course, they are actually a real crack up to drive off-road. You really can do a lot with these vehicles. They have so much off-road capability. Right now we're using the low range to climb up a steep and very slippery slope, and the car just does it. It's very cool. And then of course when you get to the crest of the hill, you can pop it into hill descent mode and just let the car take over. No brakes. It calmly descends the hill even in these very tricky and slippery conditions. Technology like this is what makes the Wildtrak such a popular option.
Ford's pickup has a key advantage over the Amarok in that it has a proper four-wheel drive system. The Ranger offers high and low range gearing for its 6-speed automatic transmission, which gives it extra capability off-road, as well as an electronically locking rear diff that you won't find on all utes.
So the Amarok doesn't quite have the same four-wheel driving smarts as the Ranger. It doesn't have a low range transfer case, which a traditional four-wheel drive does. Instead, it's just got some electronic assistance through the off-road mode. And it does a pretty good job, I'd have to say. You know, it's got good ground clearance, as we'll find out in a second, just climbing this hill. And it uses that diesel engine pretty damn easily just to cruise up, sit here. Yeah, certainly does all the things that the Ranger can do, even though it doesn't have them. As for the suspension, yeah, it goes anywhere as well. It's got good ride height, good departure and entry angles, and it's pretty easy to cruise around in off the beaten track. Its urban-based tyres don't have that same element of purchase that the Rangers do. More tuned for the comfort around town than they are for getting you out of the absolute rugged bush bashing situations, but I'd have to say they still have plenty of grip on this slippery surface. Again, you're going to have to be on your toes, but good fun. The Amarok certainly hasn't been stuck anywhere and has been everywhere that the Ranger does, so it lives up to it. I'm impressed. Well, look at this, Dave. Our muddy new paint jobs are perfect proof that these two are some pretty tough trucks.
Oh, how good is it? It was so cool today to really get a sense of the breadth of ability that these vehicles have, and a lot of fun as well.
Sure was, and it really does showcase why they are so popular in today's world.
They really are. You know, these are vehicles that you can drive to work every day. They're great on the motorway as well, and then if you take them off-road, they are an absolute barrel of laughs. It's a lot of fun.
But one of these has got to be a winner.
Yeah, and for me, it's got to be the Ranger. It came in here as the defending champion, and I still feel that this is the best truck in its class. It's got the best safety package. You've got some active safety features, and of course the airbags in the back. Plus, it is a fair bit cheaper.
I agree, Dave. I reckon the Ranger still sets the benchmark for this class, but they do have one thing in common at the moment. They both need a wash, so let's get cracking.
Yeah.